Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome to more settlement survival in our town of Rellyton. This finale is still sponsored by the devs in celebration of this game's full release. A big thank you to them for that. You guys can find a link in the description down below if you'd like to learn more. So I spent a bit of time in between the last video working on expanding out our town in a big way, and you can see this whole new neighborhood over here is kind of the product of that extra work. We've got a lot of farms, we've got a theater, we've got a new bathhouse, a whole new neighborhood. Everything over here is looking pretty darn solid. For the most part, you didn't miss out on too much besides just kind of doing bigger and better works on everything we've done up to this point. But there are a couple of upgrades I want to draw some attention to. So first off, you'll notice that my happiness and health is looking a lot better, and that's because of a couple of upgrades we built out. If I take a look over here, you can see that we did get our theaters built, right? Because instead of producing my own costumes, I just took advantage of the trading system, traded with the Meow faction, got up to reputation level 1 by the way, bought some costumes, and that was all I needed. Rather than produce it, let's just buy it real quick. I did the exact same thing with the hospitals and cathedral technologies. For that, you need luxury furniture and luxury bedding. I can't make either of those right now, and it'd be a pretty big investment to be able to do that. So, it was a lot faster and easier. Just buy it. Now we've got cathedrals and hospitals everywhere, which is protecting our people and making them happier and healthier. So that's all looking really good. There is, however, an unexpected bottleneck that we are running into in our industry right now, and that is a lack of lumber. We're burning through this pretty darn quickly. I've placed down several more foresters' huts trying to build that out, so we'll be able to get a lot more lumber, but we'll need to reduce our consumption a bit. Something we could do is go to this fuel factory and stop burning our timber and just use coal instead to get our refined fuel. I think that's going to be a good way for us to go. So let's go ahead and swap all that over. We'll keep an eye on that. I have 2 coal mines right now, so I'm trying to produce plenty for our people. We've got 1,000 coal right now. I have to think that's going to be pretty good. Regardless, in order to try and solve our situation with our raw materials, we're going to do something new down over here. I have built up some forest farms. This is a tech we unlocked in the agriculture tree all the way down here. And now we can start growing our own trees and using the fertilizer from a compost plant to force them to grow really fast. So I'm hoping this is going to turn into a much easier source of consistent lumber. We could also plant down the bamboo seeds that we unlocked by getting a better reputation with the Meow faction, but I don't need to make the baskets or some paper out of that right now, so I think we'll pass on that. Speaking of paper, something else I did was I got rid of my paper factories and replaced them with printing factories. I have 3 of these now. 1 full-time producing paper, 1 full-time producing ink, and then taking both of those and turning them into books. With books, at an upgrade for the Research Institute, we can create a research academy. Take a look at how much science we've gotten so far as of October. 76,000 science using books. Contrast that for the 10,000 we've gotten using just paper. So yeah, a research academy with books, really good. Now we are churning through the science, which is excellent for us. By the way, we just had an animal plague. Dang, okay. So I'm going to try something. I've never actually tried this, but it might work. I just want to see. So what happens now is a plague just broke out in one of our animal colonies. In this case, it's the turkeys over here. So all of them are kind of condemned to die. I don't know, however, if only one of them is technically sick. So what I'm going to try to do is just start culling the population, and with any luck, maybe we catch the turkey that is dying, and before it can spread its disease any further, and therefore save the rest of the colony. If not, all these guys are dead. You could ensure against an animal plague by having 2 pastures of the same animal type and splitting the herd. That way, if one of them dies, like let's say these cows over here, you'd have another population that's nice and safe, and then you just migrate half the herd back over here and rebuild your population. But I'm going to try this. Let's just start culling off the turkeys and see if this kind of goes away. Maybe we get lucky. Oh, wait. I think we just did. Right there, actually. I think we just got rid of the sick turkey and we may have just saved it. Let's keep an eye on this. We've got 17. Usually I would condemn an entire pasture to die. But if this population rebounds and goes back up, then that's actually the best way to go. Cull the herd until you find the sick one. Another very helpful tool that I have unlocked is terraforming. If we take a look down over here under mining, we can landfill and river dig. Now, I don't think that either of these terraforming actions require you resources. It's just something you can do to kind of modify the terrain and make it a little bit easier to place down certain buildings. It's under the command key over here if you scroll all the way over to the right. Be careful about doing this because some of this is irreversible. For example, if I knock down a mountain to try and create flat ground, I can't get it back, and that means I've lost a source for some mines, so you don't want to do that necessarily. Over here, though, I want to make some space for a forge so we can make the building kits. So let's go over here and just kind of drag out what I think I need. which is, I think, a 4x4, 5x5 area. We'll do this, and boom. That should clear that out. Then we just go under the processing. I'm going to scroll all the way over here. There's a lot of buildings now. Get a forge. Place it down. We're still a little bit too small. That's fine. That's fine. This is why we get the terraform. It's a very, very helpful feature if you find yourself getting kind of cramped on space. And you're like, if only that one little tile wasn't in the way. Anyway, there we go. So now we're going to build a forge. Now we'll be able to start getting building kits. And with building kits, we can go for a few upgrades. And by the way, yes, my turkeys have repopulated. Okay, I learned something today. I'm glad I tried that. We found a solution to the animal plague. The forge is done. Excellent. So building kits are basically made out of either bricks and glass, then planks and steel. That's pretty much it. So if we have an excess of any of those, I'm happy to go ahead and start producing them. We also could eventually start making some tool kits, or we could start making some gears. I'll worry about those later. Building kits are going to be a little bit better for me. Now, I'm going to go ahead and preemptively turn off all my farms over here right now, which sucks, but I can see up in the top right, we got another one of those floods on the way in about a month. Why waste our time putting together a bunch of crops that are instantly going to die? As soon as the flood has passed, we'll try to plant down as much as I can and harvest what I can before it's too late. Something I don't know is if the flood's going to kill my trees. You know, I'd like to think the trees might survive. I guess we're going to find out. Oh, geez. The Research Academy has pulled out about 135,000 science over the course of last year. Wow! That's almost an order of magnitude better than the Research Institutes, guys. It's so stinking good. All right, here comes the flood. Here comes the flood. Do-do-do-do. Your crops are gonna drown now. Oh, it does kill the trees. That's disappointing. Oh, well. Managed to get at least a few hundred extra lumber out of that arrangement before it was too late. And actually, yeah, our wood stockpiles are looking pretty solid. Interestingly, the fruit trees are fine. I'm going to invest a couple of tech points toward getting the housing upgrades up and running, since now we should be producing a bit of bricks and glass. I do have some building kits, not an absolute ton, but some. So why don't we go toward, like, the center of town and try upgrading a few homes. Ooh, they look kind of snazzy. All right, I like the nice little red roofs on these guys, so we can start up some new families over here in the high-end area of town, I suppose. We'll turn this into the rich neighborhood, I guess. So what are the advantages of the luxury house? Well, they have better durability. You can have 5 people in a house instead. It improves the health of our people. Having better residence levels does help a very small amount, so all of that's worthwhile. Yeah, if we can get a whole bunch of houses upgraded, it just seems like a good thing to do. I've also been spending some of my tech points trying to boost up our trade a little bit, because I don't think we've been getting enough of this done. So going for things like overloader so we can have extra weight, large trading posts, and high speed means we can make a much, much faster trip. That's good. Let's get ourselves something like a carving workshop, because over here I did place down a quarry and a mine in the areas where jade and gold can be found. Now, you don't need to spend time harvesting them specifically. In fact, that's not an option. It's just an extra byproduct of jobs they would do otherwise, like mining coal or the stone. So we're getting a small amount of jade and gold sand. And if I can start turning those into valuable trade goods, that's pretty cool. So tell you what, in order to really boost up our trade, let's build a large trading post over here on this area of town, and then nearby where the gold and the jade is being produced, we can get ourselves at least 1 or 2 of these carving shops. This should let us start ramping up our trade goods. It does take building kits to make, by the way, so that is the primary reason I have not been placing these down as of yet, because we've only recently unlocked this ability. Could also try carving some statues out of things like, you know, wood or iron and stuff. That's also an option, but if we've got the gold sands, I don't know, I feel like we might as well just use it. We're making a few modest improvements to the town as I continue to trade. You can see our caravan on the way with about 18,000 silver worth of goods. I'm trying to get, for example, some upgrades to our shoes. We have a leatherware hut, which is taking leather and turning it directly into leather shoes. We produced a fair number of those. It's going to be significantly better than the sandals we're currently making, which increase speed by 5. Instead, these guys increase speed by 10. Not to mention they have significantly higher durability than simple reed straw shoes, so I'm hoping that's going to go a much longer way and boost up our happiness, because right now people aren't absolutely ecstatic. I'm also building out things like a barbecue, which is going to take some of the meat chops we are now making at the butcher, and that's going to turn things into sausages, which is worth more than twice the hunger for about twice the cost. So it's a better value in terms of making our food stretch out a little bit further with our meat. We did discover some buffalo, so I got a couple of corrals over here where I am growing them. This actually grows faster than a simple eco pasture, so these things are always good to have on hand. And I've unlocked brick roads, which are just a little bit better than the cut stone roads. So at least along the major walkways and arteries, I'm going to be placing these everywhere and try to make everyone move and get around a little bit faster. One thing that's really fascinating to me in this game is that you really can never get complacent. Even when we've grown the town to most of the map, and it looks like we're doing really, really well, and we are to a degree, you can't let yourself think that this is just the end of things and everything's going to be coasting from here on out, because it probably isn't. I mean, case in point, we're still having a hard time growing our population at enough of a rate, we can turn this off by the way, enough of a rate to have full replacement of all of our jobs as people start naturally dying off. We are constantly relying on things like immigration to kind of keep us afloat. And even if I do expand out the housing, and 69 people do want some housing, you find that your need for food continues to grow so rapidly that we fluctuate a lot over the course of the year. All it takes is 1 year of famine, and we'd be in a lot of trouble. So I don't know. This is just one of the few settlement kind of colony building games where I feel like you really can never let your guard down. Every milestone, every leap forward comes with some growing pains and readjustments, and you always have to be wary. Oh, that's some revenue right there. 18,000 more silver, and we have upgraded a reputation level. Yeah, I'm going to continue working down some of this. Getting up to level 3, unlocking things like gems could be kind of fun, dyeing some cloth and all of that. If you're wondering, by the way, if there's any point in getting all the way to the end of the reputation down here, the answer is yeah, you can get some pretty awesome wonders. A great palace, for example. You build this with the Meow faction, you get a reputation boost of 100% with all other factions. For Lorenzo, down here at the bottom, the Great Council, all housing quality of nearby citizens rises up to level 3. That's pretty awesome. Or maybe the Madrasa. Let's see. Research academies and institutes get 50% more science. Oh man, I love that. And then the Great Temple down over here, you would actually be sacrificing some of your people, but you do get a large amount of faith and happiness. So if you're willing to start purging some of your population, everyone else is better off for it. I don't know, that's kind of fun. We have reached the maximum level of administration. This is our final level 5 administrator. Tombstones expire faster. You know, it could be kind of nice. More trading proficiency. You know what? I like that even better. I do like that one. So with trading proficiency, we get faster trade, which is good, and we can carry more weight. Nice. All right, all that set, I've invested a lot of points down here, so we should be getting a lot more reputation as we continue sending things out. Some people have the plague. Oh, that's good. I do need to upgrade this mine. For that, we need a few more lanterns. We'll take care of that soon enough. A few of my mines should be running out of materials pretty soon. So yeah, we need to keep an eye on some of this, but otherwise, we're looking all right. Starting to catch up a bit more on some shoes. I feel like we burned through shoes really, really quickly. So we probably should get ourselves another one of the, where is it? Leather wear huts over down here. We have plenty of leather. That's not an issue. Now that I have a load of cattle and buffalo, we're producing lots and lots of this stuff. So the more shoes I can make, generally the better. And even if I don't use them all, fine. It's just another trade good. You know, I wonder if building a mosque would stack up with the cathedral as far as like generating happiness. Should we try? Yeah, I think we should try. Let's build a little mosque right over here, kind of close to a lot of the houses, and see if this really boosts up our religion. Because it's kind of only at 9% right now. Cathedrals don't carry you as far as you would think. What are some other things I'd like to do? We haven't really bothered with bread and stuff yet. Haven't needed it, but it's always a good thing to have if you can. Make butter, jam, all sorts of good stuff. Milk? We should be producing plenty of milk, right? Haven't even checked. No, we have no milk over here. Huh. That's fine, though. What we can do is possibly start working on maybe salt and sugar, because I've been growing dates. That's one of the things that we learned about from one of the factions, and you can turn dates into a form of sugar. We can finally start making some candy for the poor children who cry every Halloween. Of course, we're going to need a salt works as well. That's also something that'll be helpful. We can place it along the water. Now, see, this is a prime example of where maybe changing the shape of the river would let me fit two things in here instead. So what if, for example, I were to simply get rid of this little segment of road. So we'll go ahead and remove some of this down over here. right? So, like, right over here, what if I did a saltworks like this, and then we wanted to place another right over here? But that means I need at least some of these tiles to be terraformed. That's where we can do some terraforming right along here, boost it out like this, roughly. Kind of messes with the shape of the river a little bit, but that's probably fine. And if we can then fit a second one in here, there we go. This just becomes my saltworks area. As for sugar, how about up over here? We'll start taking the dates, which are growing somewhat nearby, and we'll go ahead and start converting those into something yummy and delicious. Sugar. There it is. Date seeds, of which I have none right now because we've been eating all of them. Yes, fair enough. But let's go ahead and start making some sugar whenever the opportunity presents itself. And if you are having a hard time with some of this, we can ban the use of dates so no one eats these anymore. That way it only gets turned into sugar. People now have to leave it alone. Oh, I think one of my caravans might have died. Because I've got a lot of money all of a sudden, and I think an insurance payout just happened. Aw, dang it. I was actually trying to buy some stuff. Well, a lot of lost souls. Let's try that again. I need to buy some luxury furniture so that I can make the mosque. I mean, yes, I could get the tech necessary to build it myself, but, like, it's going to take a lot of work. No, I'd rather just go ahead and buy it from someone. So let's see. We should now start producing some salt. So we got about 100 and something of this so far, unless people are eating it. Could they be doing that? Could they be eating this, or have people just not delivered it? We'll keep an eye on that in a little bit. I've now built up a water mill over here, and something we could do is start producing oat flour, since we don't have access to wheat, or we could start making some malt. Malt is something we would be able to use to start making some beer at a winery, which I know is not quite technically correct. It should be the brewery, but you get the idea. This would boost up happiness quite a bit. We don't need food, so I'm okay with that. Interesting to note, by the way, if we actually had the soybeans seed, we could start making tofu at a water mill. Interesting. But yeah, let's start producing some malt, making use of oats, which I do have a small reserve of, but not a massive one. Strictly speaking, if you want to boost up your farms even further, something you could do is actually place down a mill next to them. I'm pretty sure what that does, as you can see down here with the water mill, is create the grasslands buff, which, actually, wait, a grasslands buff, doesn't it boost up the pastures? Maybe, yeah, actually it does. Oh, maybe you want to place a mill down over this direction then. Huh, interesting. Well, either way, it's worth having some mills, even if you're not going to produce anything with them. I built our first winery, so over here, yeah, you can see we can take the, actually just directly oats and turn that into beer. Interesting. Oh, I stand corrected, I'm sorry. So, in the real world making of beer, you usually do use hops and malt. Malt in this game actually goes to whiskey. Interesting, which is actually worth a bit more. Health goes up by 20 from beer, 40 from whiskey. Wow. Also relieves stress, which makes sense. We also have access to anisette, or however you're supposed to say that, which is made from dates. That's kind of nice, actually. Then there's tequila from agave, which we don't have, and we don't have grapes either. Huh. Well, let's go ahead and start making this into a whiskey shop. I don't know, we've had a debate since, like, the first video on what's better, tequila or whiskey, and people kept telling me it was whiskey, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and make some. And sure enough, by the way, we just created the grasslands buff over here, and you can see that it is boosting up all of our nearby pastures. So now, we're turbocharging our cows. Oh, by the way, yes, the mosque does boost up the religion happiness. We're now up to 27%. So just having one of these actually gave us a pretty massive boost. Wow. Okay, well, I mean, everyone's comfortable. So efficiency being up by 10% is pretty awesome. And we have, again, over 150% in health, so no accidental deaths. I'm not sure how much more I'm going to try to continue pushing this up further right now, but it's good to see that we actually did make some progress on that. One more thing that I want to build up over here is a mint. Now, this is a very, very helpful building. I'll place it close to the silver mine. I can just terraform my way to victory there. It's a very handy building because instead of having to refine silver into something like cutlery and then go to the trouble of selling it, you can just create silver coins outright. And I think we've done the math on this before and shown that mints are an extremely cost-effective way of making a load of silver coins. And remember, you need silver coins in order to place special orders at the dock. You need like 60 to 70,000 of them. It's taken me this long just to get up to 58,000. Once you have a mint, though, things really start to speed up. Down over here, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and start building up a whole new home because our population has grown a lot and we have over 100 citizens asking for houses. So it's time to grow a bit more. And you know what? For good measure, before we end up this series, let's grab the candy workshop. It's time to make some kiddos happy. So to give you an idea, in this case to make silver cutlery, it takes 2 silver ore to make 90. So every silver ore is worth 45 silver coins. In contrast, at the mint, 1 ore is worth 50 coins. So this is just strictly a better way of getting silver ore, if that's what you want. Now, I do still want the cutlery to trade with the other factions, because trading with them is good and all, but, like, yeah, you want to be strictly efficient, the mint's the way to go. Ah, boo. Sorry, kiddos, I can't make you any candy because I don't have any honey. We can fix that, that's no problem. Hang on, we'll just stop getting the beeswax and instead just start getting a load of honey. Don't worry, children, I'm gonna make this happen for you, I swear. I mean, we're rolling in a lot of silver right now. Why don't we just go ahead and go to the orders right like that, and we're gonna order a cash crop, I think. Something like tobacco, maybe? Yeah, let's order a tobacco seed worth 30,000. And we could also learn how to get something like some cotton. That wouldn't be bad for us either. And maybe some sort of a fruit. Peach and stuff, these are a little bit more expensive, unfortunately. So maybe we can't quite afford that. Herb seeds? You know what? I'd like to be able to grow my own herbs. Cool, we're going to spend like a lot of my silver. We'll order 3 sets of seeds, and that's going to open up a whole load of new crops for me. Oh wow, the ship has already arrived. That didn't even take very long. Beautimus! Okay, we need to free up some workers somewhere. Tell you what, we don't need to be building as much stuff right now, so we'll pause on some of these, free up a few. And down over in this area, I've decided to repurpose this district mostly for the purpose of the cash crops. So we could go for the cotton down over here if we wanted to, or I think if you want to grow tobacco, that can't be done at the big farms. It actually has to be done in nurseries, which I don't have down here. So for now, let's just go for a whole load of cotton. And then up over here, I already preemptively had built a couple of nurseries. This is where you would grow the tobacco or the herbs. So if you want to have a consistent source of herbs, for example, that's what we want to turn on. Good news, tiny children. We are currently making candy. A little bit anyway. We should probably tell people they should stop consuming it. I guess it doesn't matter too much. It's just a little bit of happiness and stuff like that. I guess I can eat it. Save some for Halloween, though, for real. Otherwise, that's going to end up being a little bit of a problem. I like the... Oh, God! Okay, I guess the children got a little excited and stampeded because now we have an earthquake. Wild animals have been killed and any low durability buildings that I had have been destroyed. The good news is, I don't think I had any low durability buildings, so we're kind of fine. The big issue I'm still having is that people are, you know, kind of dying off and we're still having a hard time replacing people, but yeah, no, I think we're fine. I may have lost like 1 building. I saw a small influx of workers and that's kind of it. As far as earthquakes go, it's pretty darn mild. The only big issue I see is I think we just lost all of our jade and gold deposits. Boo, that sucks. Well, the good news is you can get around it. You just need to go to gold mining so you can start panning sand for gold, and you need to get the jade house so you can start finding it deep in the stone. But you know what? I think that's probably all that I wanted to show off in this particular video. We made some really solid progress. We got through almost all of the tech, at least everything that would matter. Our economy has reached a stage where we're in absolutely zero danger. In fact, our food is just continuing to grow despite my growing population. If I wanted to, I could place down like 30 more houses and we would be completely fine. All we're waiting for is another influx of immigrants to just go ahead and start manning all of the fields, picking my cotton, growing my tobacco, get all of that set up, and we'll be making loads and loads of cash. In the meantime, yeah, we are starting to produce some silver, so everything's looking great. We've got access to everything we could possibly want now. It's just a matter of sitting back and waiting. But I had a lot of fun with this, and I feel like Rellyton turned out pretty darn nicely. Take a look at the map, by the way, and you can see just how much of our grounds we managed to take up. That's most of the map. Not half bad. Thank you all very much for watching this series. I hope that you did enjoy it, and if you haven't played the game before, you found it informative. And again, thank you to the devs for the sponsorship. I had a lot of fun with this. You guys can find a link in the description down below if you would like to try it out for yourself as well. In the meantime, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.